for joining me for another process video. Today I am doing the Freaky Fast Friday from October of 2018. Unfortunately, I've had so much going on that I forgot to upload this video last month, so I'm uploading it now. I'm using this My Mind's Eye collection pack, and it is definitely an older pack. I was able to pick up some of the embellishment pieces from a peachy cheap deal. And then I also had some of the paper from one of those paper pads that I think I got it from Michael's, where it had a bunch of different the My Mind's Eye collections in it. So I am cutting up each one of these papers, just like I've done in all my other previous Freaky Fast Friday layouts. That's what I love about these layouts, is you just cut it and figure out how to put it together. So I think I'm looking for one last piece to add to this, and I end up using these hot air balloons as my last piece. And this Freaky Fast Friday actually had, I feel like, an extra strip of paper. I think they usually are like 4 to 5, and I think there were like 6 in this Freaky Fast Friday. So it took me a while to figure out how to use it. So I have this gray cardstock that I cut out the center to use on to mat one of my other photos, and so I just pulled out another sheet to mat this as well. So that's why my mat for one of them is a lot larger than the other. So I used my distress ink, as you saw, to distress the edges of that orange paper, as well as all of the other sheets of paper. And then I do use washi tape on the back of my paper when I do this, if I cut out the center, so that it doesn't get stuck to the layouts and I don't have issues pulling it out. Once I put them in the album, it doesn't get stuck to other pages. So I had a difficult time with these. And like I said, I think it was because there were additional pieces of paper. There are 6 pieces of paper, and I really think that there's usually only 5, maybe 4. So I moved it around. I moved it up and down. I thought maybe I'll turn it sideways. I actually sped this up. I think usually I speed it up to 3 times. I think I even sped this up to like 6 times, because I really am just playing around, moving it around, and I didn't want to cut it all out, because I want to show you guys that sometimes the process isn't as easy as just laying down the papers. Sometimes it takes a little bit. So this is where I slowed it back down, because I think I have finally figured out how I'm going to do the different papers. So, and I still end up with this star paper that I'm like, have no idea what I'm going to do with it. But I think I ended up putting it there. So what I'm going to do is I am using these random photos from when we went to Universal. We have Universal annual passes because we live here locally in Orlando, and so when we go, we don't tend to take a lot of photos because we've just gone so much. So, and then if I do take photos, I try to take at least 4 or 5 so that I can complete a layout. And then these were just ones that were left over from an event that we were for a day that we went. So they're just all kinds of randomness photos. So first I tried to use that 4x6 photo of us meeting the Cat in the Hat and thing 1 and thing 2. And I didn't like the way that looked. So then I went to try and use these 2 photos when we were on the carousel, and I didn't like that either. So I went back to Cat in the Hat and thing 1 and thing 2. So this is where I think, well, maybe since there's so many pieces of paper, I'll span all of them across the double page layout. So I sped it up again to times 6 so that you can see that I've been playing around with it and I didn't like the way it looked. So then I went back to my original thought process of using it on a 1 page layout, or the left side of my page layout, so that I can keep it consistent with what I've done before. So I did end up taking a photo of it before I took it all apart. That way I made sure that I was able to remember exactly where I put it down. So once I get all of the paper down, then I add fun foam to the back of my photo, just because I want to give it a little dimension. And so this is where I've pulled out my photo again that I took, and just to make sure that my picture is placed where I wanted it. So now I have the dilemma of these 4 photos, and 2 of them I have matted. So I'm trying to figure out what will work, what won't work. And I end up having to take the photos off of the mat. And then I decide that I'm going to cut down the photos a little bit, because I'm going to use a grid design with these photos. So I'm going to end up putting them on this orange hot air balloon, but because I put the photos so close to each other, you really can't tell what is behind the photos at all. So it's really just, you'll end up seeing that orange and then the like light teal blue color behind it, because I cut it so close. So it really looks more like polka dots than hot air balloons. So here's my grid design for the 4 photos on the right hand side of the layout. And now what I really like to do when I'm doing the Freaky Fast Friday challenge and I end up cutting down my papers, I try to use the scraps from what I cut. So you can tell that I'm using very similar or the exact same photo paper. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. The exact same paper on the left as I do the right. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling from my stash the pieces that I cut for the left-hand side of the layout. So I end up only using the polka dots, that stripe, and then the blue plaid. And I love the way the bones of this layout came out. I think that it really showcases that you can have a photo that stands out. So that Cat in the Hat and the thing 1 and 2 really stand out. So I wanted to use that by itself. And then I have this grid style photo of just some randomness of us on the carousel. And then I think the other picture, the selfie of Kevin and I was taken, I think when we were in line for one of the rides. So now I'm pulling out these pieces, and these were the pieces that I got from the Peachy Cheap deal. So when I saw this Peachy Cheap deal, I was so excited because I just had the paper pad and I didn't have any pieces to it. So I was so happy that I was able to pick up some of the embellishments that match with the collection. So I end up using, I thought that this little banner piece was going to be my title, which I love the saying in this banner piece. It says playful, and then underneath it says silly, lively, mischievous, and funny, which of course is all about Universal and the Cat in the Hat, that theme around the Cat in the Hat. So I thought that was going to be my title, but I actually don't end up using that as my title. I think titled it Universal, which is what I'm doing now. So what I did was I took a really thin piece of fun foam and I added some adhesive to it, and then I took these block letters and added it to the fun foam so that it made it look like the fun foam or the block letters were one piece. It made it very easy to move them and lay them down onto the layout. So now I'm just adding different pieces into the layout from the collection pieces. And then this is brand new. I am super, super excited about this book. I'm going to show you a little preview here. I got this idea from Janet, RTS Scrapbooking. I will link it below for you guys so that you can see her take on this. She basically took all of her embellishments and added them to a notebook that she had put wax paper on, which is a super, super fabulous idea. But I had an idea to kind of revamp it a little bit. What I ended up doing was during the school time, I found some page protectors that were on clearance, back to school. So all of that back to school area stuff was on clearance. I picked up, I think, 10 packages of them, and then I picked up a pack of white cardstock from Tuesday Morning. And as you can see in the book, all I did was I took my stickers, my embellishment, everything, and added them to the page protectors. I have had no issues getting them off. They are all color coded obviously by color. So you can see here I have my greens. Some of them are just them stickers themselves. Some of the things that I have that are a whole sticker sheet, I just put adhesive on the back of it and added to it. But I cannot thank RTS, Janet from RTS Scrapbooking enough for this idea. I cannot believe the amount of embellishments and stickers and ephemera pieces and everything that I have been using since I put this book together. Now, Janet will tell you in her video, which is, she goes into great detail. It took me a very long time to put this together. I was actually traveling. I spent almost a week every day after work for several hours putting this together. It was no easy task to get it together, but once I got it together, I was so happy with it. So again, I cannot thank Janet enough for this idea. I love it. So now that I have gone through my book, and you can see that I've added tons of different pieces to it, that it really showcased all of the layout itself, I pulled out my wood veneer, and I do end up putting, when I was talking before, a little orange piece behind that green tag, as well as an orange piece behind that camera wood veneer, just because there is that hole in it, and I didn't want to see the layers behind it because there were so many layers. I am adding the year with these little stickers here to the bottom of the left side of the page. And then I found this geotag, which I thought was perfect to add right above the word universal, because that's where we were. So this journaling is very super simple. It's just that we saw the Cat in the Hat, and we saw thing 1 and thing 2, and we had lots of fun at Universal. So nothing really fancy about this, just another page to document in as what we enjoyed when we go to Universal. Thanks everyone for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more double page layouts, because that's all I do on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone, and have a scrappy day.